Welcome to level 2 of the beginner animation series, where I'm doing 51 exercises, give or take. Everything you need to know about animation and how to get started. Today in the level 2 series, we're starting the character animation portion. No more flour sacks, just characters. So what I have today is a person turning their head, and then I also have another person blinking, and I'm just going to go over what I did to achieve this and what you can do to achieve it as well. Okay, so in my first animation of the face turn, the very first thing I did was I drew an arc of the way I wanted the head to turn, because if you've ever watched someone turn their head, they never just turn it straight across. It usually dips down or it goes at a different sort of angle, but it's never just a robotic turn. So I wanted to incorporate that. To start with, I just started drawing my construction lines for the head. I didn't put any detail or anything in like that. So construction lines, this is where your understanding of the head anatomy comes in, because in order to smooth this out, you're going to need to understand how to rotate the head. Comment below if you want me to give some sort of techniques on how I simplify the head, and I will make a separate video for that at another time. After I did my basic head construction and I was satisfied with how it came out, I started to add in a little bit more detail, still following the same sort of angle of the face, following the eyes, still keeping it relatively simple but not going all in. The very last thing I added in was the eyes and the eyebrows, and then eventually I decided to do on a separate layer the hair. And for the hair, I just kept it very simple, and I did some overlap with the hair, so that way even though the head was moving and when the head finally stopped at its complete turn, the hair was catching up, and did some overshoot and some settle just to sell the movement just a little bit more. And that's basically it. I would say the most complicated part of this was just keeping model, which I struggled with a little bit. I lost a little bit of the jaw and a little bit of the top of the head, but as long as I had the overall shape correct, it worked fairly well. I would say after you get your main action down, go ahead and clean up the animation and add some color if you wish, but doing that should be the exact last thing you should worry about. I decided to separate the blink from the face turn, so that way you can see my basic face turn, and then in your animation you can add in where you think the blink should go. Now for the blink, you'll have to pardon me, I forgot to record me actually drawing the blink. But if you notice, my blink is very simple. It's literally 4 frames of work. I kept the animation very simple. I did 1 frame where obviously his eyes are open, and then another frame, the second frame, his eyes are half closed. The third frame, his eyes are partially closed even more, and then a full shut. Now the opening of his eyes, I made that happen quicker than his eyes actually closing. You can play with the timing of this animation for an eye blink. Some people just do a 1 frame change where they're open, then they're closed, and then they're opened again. Some people have a gradual close, and you might want to mess around with that a little bit, because depending on if the blink is significant or not depends on how long you want it to take. because if it's supposed to be a slow blink, like a deliberate, the way they're looking at you for emphasis, you might want to slow it down. But if it's insignificant to the scene or the story you're trying to tell, if it's just background to make the character not die or freeze too long, then it can just be even quicker than what I have drawn it. Not necessarily on 2s, you could have done it on 1s, but this is how I've always done a blink. I like the way this blink looks. It feels real, because even just watching yourself blinking in a mirror, you can tell that it's not just one second your eyes are open and 1 second your eyes are closed. It does take time for your eyes to close, even though it's very fast. So that's my blink. I didn't want to have a separate video just for the blink. Hopefully these tips help. And if you want to know anything else about a blink, or maybe a blink from a side view, just let me know and I'll do that real quick, because literally drawing this blink animation probably took not even, actually I'll say it took about 10 minutes, only because I had to draw the head first. So that's the video, guys. Those are my tips and tricks for this week. Next week is going to be more character animation. We're about to start getting into the acting portion of animation. If you have some ideas or some questions or comments, leave them down below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and come back next week, because we're about to dive in to, like I said, some more character animation. Thanks for watching.